Hey folks, we're going to have a look at this quite frankly amazing, huge fixed blade. This knife is a culmination between two cults, the cult of Bark River and the cult of all-round knife making, let's be frank, dreamboat Pete Kohler. And both are cults with completely warranted followings because both make very high quality and very distinctive products. So the two of them have collided. Two worlds collide, and they have wrought upon us this beastie here. This is the Dark Timber Grizzly, and this is a production knife made by Bark River in small batches, and as you can see, it is huge. Well, maybe you can't see it's huge. Let's put something in perspective to show you that it is huge. That's a Spyderco Delica. There. It's huge. So what you get here is I have measured it at 5/16 of an inch thick slab of CPM 3V steel. The blade length, the cutting edge is 9 inches. The edge with the choil inclusive is 10 inches. Or just under. It is a big heavy beastie of a knife that is made primarily for surviving in, I would say, wet climates or damp climates or snowy climates, because it's going to do those tasks like heavy chopping, heavy batoning, just general heavy work really, really well. A lot of reasons why too, because it's made of all the almost indestructible 3V steel, which has an amazing combination of edge holding, wear resistance and toughness. So it is definitely the steel of choice for production fixed blades at the moment, until even more fancy stuff becomes mainstream. However, it's the way that it is implemented that makes it so successful in this knife. So this knife goes with the Bark River ethos of having a full convex grind right to the edge, which does make it chop and split like an axe, and how it does perform indeed. So not only have you got a hugely capable tool, you've also got one that is finished exceptionally well. You'll pay some money for this knife, you will, and I think it's out of production at the moment, but I'm sure it'll come back because I think it sold fairly well. Well, they all sold, so I'm sure they'll have another go. It's got some really lovely details on it as well. So the handle has a proper, well thought out, heavy use handle. So, I mean, the Dark Timber knives have been making, really ergonomic, full-size choppers for a long time, usually out of W2 steel. They're often hand-forged. You'd often see that they had the hammer marks, all that sort of thing. That was kind of his trademark. So it's lost that sort of aspect of it, but it's kind of gained the same patterns, but now using Bark River's kind of like quite glossy, really nice fit and finish there. So very, very, the world's colliding in two very, very nice ways. So I've used it a little bit. This isn't my knife, so I've used it for some chopping and I've used it for some splitting just to make sure that it doesn't explode on contact with wood. But you just have to hold this in your hand to realize that you're going to have to do a lot to damage or ruin this knife or render it non-functional, because it is just so damn thick and set and stout and strong. However, it is not just a battle axe. It actually has some finesse capabilities as well. You can see here it has a forward finger choil for choking up for those detailed tasks that we knife folks are always talking about, and yes, you can certainly do it. The advantage of a high convex grind like this is that it does result in a fairly fine edge. It gets a little thick a little fast, so you're not going to be slicing your tomatoes for camp to hair shaving, hair split thickness or anything like that, but it's going to do your feather sticks, it's going to do your wood processing tasks really well. One tool option is what they're going for here, and it is something they've definitely succeeded in, if that is your bag. If you want something that you could do anything with fairly well, then this one is for you. And what's it going to do very well? It's going to do battening very well, it's going to do chopping very well, it's going to do defense really well. Geez, this is probably one of the few knives you'd say, you know what, this would probably be worth having on you if you're going into bear country or something like that. Purely as a sidearm, not as your primary defensive tool, but you know, it's definitely got that confidence in hand. It's got all the features of good grip and, huge blade and sharp tip, but strong structure and all that sort of business to really do any sort of heavy, rough job you can imagine. I can't find any negatives on this knife. I couldn't even suggest what could be improved. I've held it and I've used it and I've swung it, and it's excellent. The sheath is good. They have a strap which, you know, often, as with my Bark River Bravo 1, I'm not super keen on, but this one seems to fall out the way a bit easier so it doesn't get chopped by the blade as it comes through. It is a hugely, not overbuilt, but you know, it's thick and strong, and it's got a good welt, and it's a substantial leather sheath, and it's quite heavy. The whole weight of this package is definitely getting up there. I'll just find a set of scales there, and let's see how much this whole bad boy weighs, because it's going to be a fair bit. So with the sheath, you're looking at 870 grams, and without it you're looking at 540 grams. So it's a half a kilo knife. It's big, you know. It's a lot of weight to be wearing. But if you're in a place where a knife this big is something that you need, I honestly can't think of a better one that you'd want. It's just that well done. It's very, very. It's an envious purchase. It's something that, you know what, if these were easy to get, I'd be offering the chap who's lent it to me, thank you Luke, I'd be offering him a bit of cash to bloody say, hey, why can't this just stay here, and I'll send you the, you know, $300 or $400 or however much it costs, because if it was replaceable and if it was easy to get, you'd be definitely wanting to keep it. It is very, very nice, very, very big, very, very strong, and very, very fun. And fun is definitely a factor. Let's get the Cold Steel Trailmaster, which is kind of my big, fun, silly knife. And this is a production knife that you can get. And this blade actually makes the Trailmaster feel a bit like a sort of more nimble, small blade, or a bit less heavy and scary and choppy. It really does. It's probably, so the Trailmaster is about 100 grams less, so it's about 478 grams. So it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit stabbier, so it hasn't got the same super strong, you know, overbuilt tip. It's in 01 steel. These are probably going for around $190 to $230 in Australia. This is probably about double that, I'd say, to get one over here. But I mean, they're both carbon steel, they're both big tough knives, so if you can't afford this, then this is probably something you'd be able to have a fair bit of fun with. Still, if you're after something the giant sort of splitting, you know, overdone survival knife, but really, there is just no comparison. A bit like how the Bark River Bravo 1 is just so much nicer compared to, say, you know, a Cold Steel Master Hunter sort of thing. Very, very similar. Let's grab a look at the Bravo 1 actually, and you sort of see how, you know, you can just definitely tell it's a Bark River, even though it's smaller. So this one is also in 3V. 3V is a steel that will mark and tarnish. You can polish it back. I'll polish this all off before I send it back to my viewer. But you can see it's got those Bark River flourishes, like sort of the polished sort of micarta style handle. This one's got a really nice ornate little pin there, which I should hopefully show up when I do the more detailed shots, which I'll share later. What a great pair this would be. A sort of primary big scary chopper that you'd perhaps keep in your pack, and your camp belt knife. Really, really good choices there. Both sort of full convex ground, both very, very versatile really for their categories of knives that they fit into. So the Bark River / Dark Timber Grizzly is definitely something that I would recommend you picking up if you're a big knife fan and you get the opportunity to get one, because it really is quite the amazing knife to handle and to use. And I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with it, and I hope you've enjoyed viewing it as well. I'm always hesitant to review knives that you can't just look up and buy. I'm not a custom knife person, because the thing I like most about production knives is I like that you can be in that club, you know. I love the Spyderco Paramilitary too, and I've got other people I can use it and talk to it about, because it's not a hard knife to get. So this is sort of going against what I usually look into, but because it is still, you know, made in a, you know, production facility, I dare say they probably will show up again. So if they do, I'll probably jump at the chance, and I suggest you do too. Alright chaps, I'll see you all later. Bye now.